Oh, there we go. Wow, it wasn't on. Slacking about that. Mike wasn't on. All right. So just to he had to come over there. Sorry about that, fam. Mike wasn't on. So, like I said, we're gonna get into Matthew's chapter 24. Uh, the message is just to get us mentally prepared. I mean, we can always get physically prepared, but on a mental level about what we're about to witness, what we're about to walk into, uh, that's what the Most High was telling, well, giving the answer to the disciples when they asked the question in Matthew chapter 24. So it's to prepare us mentally. The physical part, we just gonna have to have our faith and rely upon the Most High. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that we can prepare ourselves for, uh, but the coming of Christ is something that I don't think no one can prepare for on a physical level. So on the spiritual level, it's time for us to get ourselves, kind of tuned in. And how we get ourselves on the spiritual level is just basically just listen to the prophecies that the Most High left us. Get on Revelations 1 and verse 3 real quick. Let's go Revelations 1 and verse 3.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth.
So it said what?
Blessed is he that readeth.
So it says, blessed is he that readeth. Okay. And that's what we're going to do. So read on.
And they that hear the words of this prophecy,
right,
and keep those things which are written therein.
Right. And that's what we've been doing. Over the years, we've been keeping the prophecies and the laws that are written here in this book that the Most High left us. And there's one thing, too, that we have to prepare ourselves for is we already walking through the awakening of Israel. That's one thing that, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, because as we're going to read in Matthew's chapter 24 and verse 14, but I'll wait till I get there, is that the awakening of Israel, we are already there. I mean, there's so many Israelites that are putting together, really good videos, historical videos. And there's one thing they can't do. They can't track back. You know what I'm saying? They can't stop it, because the Most High is pouring out his spirit upon Israel right now. Now, what we got to focus on is the prophecies that Christ left us, right? So, was that all that? Go ahead.
For the time is at hand.
See, for the time is at hand. And this is what the disciples asked Christ. They asked him, we're going to go in Matthew chapter 24 and just start at 1.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple.
Right.
And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you.
Hold on 1 minute. So read 1 again. I want to go back to 1.
Verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple.
Right, of the temple. So here we are, Christ is here, and Christ, they came out to show Christ how beautiful this temple was. So before we get into that, I have a few videos that I would like to actually show. Okay. But I think what we're going to do, I'm trying to set this up the right way so it can go smooth, right? So to show him his temple, now read 2.
Verse 2, and Yahushua said unto them,
mm-hmm.
see ye not all these things?
Okay, so the Christ is now, he's telling them, see you not all these things? Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another.
Now, when he said that, trust me, they were shocked. They had to sit back and be like, what? And that was the whole purpose of when he said they took him out to show him the beautiful temple. But now when he made that comment, there will be not one stone left upon another. They had to sit back like, what is he talking about? But that was a prophecy that the Most High gave that has already came to pass. And our, what I'm trying to say is the information, the time that we got it. Okay. So he said that one stone would not left onto another. So what time is that? That time is happening during 70 AD. Okay. So real quick, I'm going to share this screen. And I'm going to get a little information about 70 AD. Q, can you help me out here? Trying to share the screen. It won't come up. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. Nope. Bear with me a little bit. I'm just trying to, here we go. Just trying to navigate a little bit. Doesn't look familiar. Sorry about that. Hit here.
You see the share.
Share.
Right. Go to entire screen.
Entire screen. Where's that at?
To the right.
You got to click.
Oh, I'm about back. Okay.
Click on the box.
Okay, there we go.
No.
No?
Go back. Open it back up.
Open it back
Click on
up.
Sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Do the same thing over.
Okay.
See that little knob down there?
Here?
Audio. Yeah, turn it on because we won't hear the video.
Okay.
Yeah, you good.
All right. Thank y'all for bearing with us. I'm using his computer. All right. All right. So, back. So during that time when he said there should be not a stone left upon another, it's during the time of 70 AD, right? So he prophesied that this was happening. Now, in their time, right, it hasn't came to pass yet, but this is one of his the prophecies that Christ actually laid down. Okay, so we're gonna read that. Blow it up.
You gotta,
Yeah. Yeah, it's in it. Okay, read that, brother.
Siege of Jerusalem. In April 70 CE, about the time of Passover.
So now this took place around the time of Passover as well. Now, another historical event that happened during the time of the Maccabees, right? When the Greeks had attacked our sisters and brothers, and they did it on the Sabbath day, and a great number of our people were slaughtered. Okay, so here it is again, during the time of this time, 70 AD, it's gonna, during our Passover, they know how and when to actually attack us. So we're gonna continue to read. Go ahead.
The Roman general Titus besieged Jerusalem. Since that action conceded with Passover, the Romans allowed pilgrims to enter the city, but refused to let them leave.
Okay, so now, like I said, they knew when to attack us. They knew that our Passover, how we were going to start to do our pilgrimage, to Jerusalem to keep this holy day. Okay, so but he said that during this time, the Romans allowed them to come in, but they did not let them leave. Go ahead.
Thus strategically depleting food and water supplies within Jerusalem. Within the walls, the Zealots, a militant anti-Roman party.
Right there it says, so the Zealots, anti-Roman party, right? They were also in there, and they was actually given more chaos during this time as well. Okay, go ahead. Struggle
with other Jewish factions that had emerged.
Right. So now within Jerusalem, they had other factions, like other camps. And at that time, the camps was beefing with one another because they wanted power over Jerusalem. They wanted their camp to be the head or to lead during the time of Jerusalem. I'm just kind of putting how the scenario may have been so we can understand it today. So these zealots was there. But remember, it says the Romans had let our people in, but they would not let them out. So they start to lock them down. Go ahead.
Which weakened the resistance even more. Josephus, a Jew who had commanded rebel forces, but then defected to the Roman cause.
Right. So now here's Josephus, because he's a historian. He had the book of Josephus, which he actually wrote about the historical events that took place during 70 AD. So this is all historical facts. But Christ prophesied about this would happen right here in Matthew chapter 24. So now, as the time went on, like he said, these Jew parties, which is like camps that actually going, it was the let me see, I think it was like Safari, not the Safari. What was their name? Sakari. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sakari. And there was let me see, because I had it in there. The Essenes, that's right, the Essenes, and then you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So there was a big commotion in Jerusalem during this time, right? So you had all these fashions doing the chaos within there, and the Jews is sitting back. The Romans was sitting back saying, "Let them go ahead and fight, because we know what we're gonna do. We're gonna shut this whole place down, and we're gonna take over." Go ahead.
Attempt to negotiate a settlement. But because he was not trusted by the Romans and was despised by the rebels.
See, he was despised by the rebels. Go ahead.
The talks went there nowhere. The Romans encircled the city with a wall to cut off supplies to the city completely and thereby drive the Jews to starvation.
Right, and thereby drive the Jews to starvation. Now, this is where Christ come in and start prophesying before this actually happened. But I just wanted to bring that pretty much out as far as the history is concerned. All right. Kind of bear with me a little bit while I navigate this. All right, let's see. All right. Bear with me. I'm just trying to navigate this brother's computer. Don't have mine. So, all right. So that was what Christ was actually prophesying. Could you read Matthew 24 and verse 2?
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 2. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
So that shall not be thrown down. So now, like I said, that was during the time of 70 AD. So that prophecy came to pass. Go ahead.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately,
now,
saying,
it says, the disciples came unto him privately. That's just as if I was come to Salak. I knew Salak knew the answer, or I came to, Uriah or Sarai, and I was like, pull him aside and say, hey, listen, privately, let me ask you something. I'm curious about what's going to happen, right? So continue on.
Tell us, when shall these things be?
Right? He said, tell us, when shall these things be? Go ahead.
And what shall be the sign?
Right. And what shall be the signs? See, that's when we come in now. Now, like I said, history has passed. We know that our forefathers went through the triangular slave trade. From there, we're here. I'm just kind of speeding things up, but we're looking at these prophecies so that we'll know what to expect during our time. This is something that, even though we've read hundreds of times before, I'm talking about Matthew chapter 24, but we're actually walking through the other prophecies that Christ is about to lay down. Okay. So he said, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the signs of thy coming? Go ahead.
And of the end of the world.
See, and of the end of the world. So now what I'm about to show now is a few videos, but now as he's gonna start naming certain things. And I got a list of things right here that I want to go through. So read on verse 4.
Verse 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them.
So now he's giving them the answer. Go ahead.
Take heed.
Hold on 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Let's go to Mark real quick. Let's go to Mark 13. So we'll see. I just want to put some names on this real quick. Or who was asking this. Mark chapter 13. And we're going to read 1 down to 3.
Mark chapter 13 and verse 1. And as he went out of the temple, one of his disciples said unto him.
So now we're giving another account of what Mark had actually seen as well. So Mark is going to give an account on his intake as far as what Christ prophesied and was saying.
Master, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here. And Yahushua answering said unto him, see if thou these great buildings, there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Go ahead.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John.
Right there. So he said Peter, James, and John. So Matthew didn't put any names in there. But now Mark did put the names in there because they said they came to him privately and they wanted to speak to him. And remember now, Peter is what? Most High said he left the keys of the kingdom to Peter. So this prophecy that he's given him is something that we have to take forward in our time and say, we have to really meditate on it on a spiritual as well as on a mental level, because that's what we're trying to get to right now. All the things that's happening right now, right? The elections, wars, earthquakes. He's going to speak of all of these things. But I just wanted to put some names to this question that he was asking Christ about this prophecy. Okay, go ahead.
And Andrew asked him privately.
So let's go back to Matthew chapter 24. And we're going to pick it up at 4.
Matthew 24 and verse 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you.
So now he said, take heed that no man deceive you. Go ahead.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ.
So I didn't get anything out to actually give an example of this, but we already know this. Many has came in Christ's name. We know Caesar Borgia, right? They have put that image up there to say that this is Christ. Then there's many other quote unquote pastors and preachers. Christianity is one of them. You know, they have they saints and things like that. So these are all these many of these what he says. It says
deceivers.
For many shall come in my name. So all of these are coming in the name of who? In the name of Christ, in the name of Yahushua. So he said, many shall come in my name. So that's a prophecy that he already put out there that we have witnessed over the years, over the centuries. Go ahead.
And shall deceive many.
And we're watching not only our people being deceived, but the whole world is being deceived by the Roman Catholic Church and their teachings. That's a prophecy within itself that we're actually seeing and walking through and realizing that, hey, you know what? This is against what Christ was saying. This was what Christ was actually warning us against. Okay, read on.
And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
So now it says you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. So now I'm going to just play this one video, right? So we can see in our time about these wars and these rumors of wars that the Most High is actually saying. All right. Hopefully it won't buff too much.
2024 begins with wars burning in Gaza, Sudan, Ukraine, and elsewhere. Peacemaking is in crisis. Here are crisis groups' 10 conflicts to watch. The Hamas-led attack on 7 October and Israel's subsequent devastation of Gaza have opened a ghastly new chapter in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Now here we are is one of the biggest ones that's coming out that everybody knows about. That is going to increase. IQAhmath brought out more recent information about what's happening in Gaza, how the war is going to escalate, and how it's not going to be actually, there's no peace in coming into this whatsoever. Blow it up. Oh, is it that one? Oh yeah, that one. Okay, there we go. So there's no peace coming out of this period. They're too far into this thing. Not only that, but the Most High is allowing these things to happen because remember, he's prophesying it. He said that many should come in my name, but he said, verse 6, it says, and there shall be, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. So now we're witnessing one of the biggest wars that's going to take place, right? That actually has been escalating to the point where it's going to lead us to the Valley of Jehoshaphat, period. But there's other wars that's being taken place as well. That's why it says 10 conflicts to watch in 2024. But remember, let's go back to Matthew chapter 24. All right, so I'm going to continue.
2024 begins with wars burning in Gaza, Sudan, Ukraine, and elsewhere. Peacemaking is in crisis. Here are crisis groups' 10 conflicts to watch. The Hamas-led attack on 7 October and Israel's subsequent devastation of Gaza have opened a ghastly new chapter in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The human cost, already appalling, continues to climb. It could get worse. It's not a stretch to imagine mass displacement of Palestinians into Egypt. Finding a way out starts with recognizing that attempting to finish off Hamas, Israel's stated war aim, will leave Gaza uninhabitable. A ceasefire is imperative. The war in Gaza also threatens to spark a regional conflagration as tensions escalate between the US and Israel on one side and Iran and its allies on the other. Flashpoints include the Lebanese-Israeli border and the Red Sea, where Yemen's Houthi rebels have been attacking cargo ships. Neither side wants such a confrontation, but there are plenty of ways the Gaza war could set one off. The all-out war between Sudan's army and the paramilitary rapid support forces has left thousands of people dead and displaced some 7 million more. The specter of genocide again haunts the western region of Darfur. Diplomacy to date has been lackluster. Much more urgent efforts are needed to prevent Sudan's collapse, which would have repercussions throughout the region. Russia's war in Ukraine grinds on. Kiev's counteroffensive has stalled, and the 600-mile front is barely moving. Meanwhile, Western support for Kiev may be wavering. The stakes are high. What happens on the battlefield, and potentially also in Western capitals, will define the future of European security. A rebel offensive in Myanmar's northeast is posing the biggest challenge yet to the junta that grabbed power in 2021. But the various ethnic armed groups and post-coup resistant forces seem unlikely to coalesce. For now, the military seems likely to hang on, at a steadily mounting cost to the country. Ethiopia began 2023, having ended the bloody Tigray conflict, but its initially positive outlook did not last long. Federal forces face insurgencies in the Amhara and Oromo regions, while strained relations with neighboring Eritrea add to the tensions. In July, officers in Niger mounted a coup, cementing military rule across the Sahel, following similar takeovers in Mali and Burkina Faso.
So now, as we can see, that this is not only in Israel, but this is spreading all across the eastern part of the hemisphere, and how it's war sparking up everywhere. Now, America is supposed to be the one that step in with the UN to do what? To bring peace, or to bring them to the table to negotiate. But as we can see, they have their hands full. And not only that, but now a lot of the quote unquote African nations that's in wars right now, they have taken sides with who? With Russia and China. So now it's to a point where they're saying, you know what, we don't want the United States to be allies with us. But now we got even more a powerful nation, China and Russia, to back us up. But the US is about to go to war with who? With Russia, with dealing with the Ukraine war. So the rumors are out there, but also it's being taken place. Now, here in America, you know, the Most High still have his grace and his mercy upon us. And that's one thing I always say is that this is just me, but I truly believe that because of the Israelites are here, the Most High is having his mercy on us and said, no, those are my people. Don't touch America yet, because America is going to be left for me for a time, right? It's not going to start yet, because I don't want my people yet to be startled with this. But it is coming. It's already knocking on our door. But we're going to read a little bit more right here in verse 6, and it's going to tell you what Christ is saying, though. So I'm going to continue on with this real quick.
So far, the juntas have some popular backing, due partly to their anti-Western rhetoric, but they have yet to make headway in fighting jihadists or solving the region's other problems. A Kenyan-led mission is due to deploy to Haiti soon to help bring hyper-violent gangs to heel and pave the way for elections. The gangs have wrought havoc. Tens of thousands of Haitians are...
See, now, when they say the gangs have brought havoc, that's their opinion about it. But when you really look into it, they're literally actually trying to take back their country. They're trying to throw out their president, because their president is rubbing elbows with America, which the people are suffering because of it. So they want to put a stigma on our people, saying that the rebels and this. No. They in Haiti, they're actually trying to bring back and to help our people. All right. But now what they did was they brought another nation into Haiti to police them. That's not going to work. That just add more fuel to the fire, because now there's really going to be a big conflict now, because now you got a foreign entity in your land. So they have no other choice but to protect themselves. Okay.
Displaced, and nearly half the population is in need of life-saving aid. But politics may get in the way of peace. The unpopular acting prime minister, who has resisted forming a cross-party coalition, might seek to use the mission to consolidate his own power. Azerbaijan's rapid offensive in Nagorno-Karabakh last September ended the enclave's de facto self-rule and displaced over 100,000 ethnic Armenians. Talks between Azerbaijan and Armenia have shown promise. But challenges persist regarding border demarcation and the land corridor to the Azerbaijani enclave of Nakhchivan. If negotiations stall, Baku may resort to pressure tactics, potentially even including border incursions. The November meeting between President Joe Biden and
now check this out. Now we're talking about China and the U.S. because they're gonna have a little conflict dealing with Taiwan. Okay.
Chinese Premier Xi Jinping was a welcome step towards lowering the temperature between the two big powers. But their fundamental rivalry persists, with hawks on both sides speaking of zero-sum competition in the Asia-Pacific. Taiwan remains one source of volatility. Another is the increasingly frequent encounters between Chinese and U.S. planes and ships in the South China Sea. These are Crisis Group's 10 conflicts to watch for the year ahead.
Okay. So, Q, you may have to help me navigate this. Trying to come out of this. Oh, that's right. Told me to say you right. There we go. All right. So once again, so now those are some of the 10 conflicts that's hot right now. And guess what? Read chapter 6, verse 6 again.
Verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled.
Now, that's the key. It says, see that ye be not troubled. So even though we know these things are going on because they're there in our face, like you said, I just showed you a video of it, but read on.
For all these things must come to pass.
See, all of them must come to pass. And this is not really, and when he said those things must come to pass, it ain't going to be like, okay, boom, and then all of a sudden everything is done. No. It's what they call cuts. But it says death by 1,000 cuts. But the thing is that these wars that are there now and that what we just seen, there's no turning back. This is it. The Most High is allowing this to happen so that it can build up to the grand finale is when he comes into play. Go ahead.
But the end is not yet.
So it says, but the end is not yet. So that's one thing to think about. So he said, but the end is not yet. Okay. I'm gonna share it again. Read on, verse 7.
For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
So we see that happening right now. Nation and kingdoms rising up against each other, and we also see people rising up against each other. Okay, read on.
And there shall be famines and pestilence.
So now let's find out. So it says there'll be famines and pestilence. So now, read on.
And earthquakes in diverse places.
So now it says in earthquakes in diverse places. So let's play this one real quick. Just real quick. What happened? There we go.
Hey. You have to come and visit. It's an absolute blast.
Can't get around them, huh?
Hard to say no, isn't it?
Speak no evil.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back. We are following breaking news. An earthquake has just rattled Southern California. The quake was centered just northeast of downtown Los Angeles. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin joins us now.
Okay, so now we're talking about earthquakes. Recently, this just happened recently. I think it was a 4.4, but it says that it should be pestilence. So now we're dealing with what the monkeypox dealing. We're dealing with the C-19. This is during our time now. So even though Christ is prophesying, he's still prophesying because they're telling him, he said that what shall be thy coming and what shall be the end of the world. So now we're dealing with all of these things and during our time. So now we're dealing with the earthquakes. Go ahead.
From California, Dana, what else do we know at this moment? Any reports of damage or injuries?
Not that we know of, but it was a pretty good one that a lot of people felt. Again, 4.4 magnitude quake. We were sitting here in the Los Angeles Bureau. We could feel the rumble. A lot of people stood up. It almost felt like...
Okay, that's all I wanted of that. But we did. We felt it. And that was about the heaviest one I ever felt, being here in California. When that When that happened, I was in the warehouse and I actually seen 2-ton cranes. They started to move and shake. And I seen the whole building move and shake. So that one right there kind of shook me a little bit. And I was saying, man, this immediately I thought about Matthew chapter 14 and what Christ prophesied about. But now there's other things that's also going on as well. All right, keep reading.
All of these are the beginning of sorrows.
See, all of these are the beginning of sorrows.
Keep going.
Hold on, let's go back up because I want to deal with more of the earthquakes, right? Just deal with me, y'all, because I'm working with IQAhmath's computers, so I'm just navigating, seeing how can I navigate this really good. Yeah, but I deal with an Apple. So let's deal with this volcano, right? Let's deal with this volcano right here. Uh-oh. All right. Let's deal with this. Hope no more commercials come through. Here come another one.
All right. You have to come and visit. It's not too fast. You have to come and visit. It's not too fast.
Please get out of here. Now.
Hard to say no, isn't it?
Speak no evil.
Well, some flights in Italy have been disrupted after this. Mount Etna erupting overnight. This is one of the world's most active volcanoes, and in just the past few days, we've been seeing these sites. It's been throwing ash and lava into the sky. Before these latest bursts, this was dormant for about 4 years, but Etna is the tallest volcano in Europe. And there's
it was dormant for what, 4 years? But remember now, an earthquake is a form of what? A volcano is a form of an earthquake, because in order for that volcano to start to react itself, it has to be some movement. What'd you say?
The Titanic place out.
Exactly. They have to move. So it's a form of an earthquake that's actually happening right here. Even though it may, we know the ones that actually shake things, but this one here, and not only this one, but there's another active volcano that's in the Philippines right now. So all of these things are happening. Right, all of these things are happening, and then on the mental part, right, and the spiritual part, we have to go back and reflect back to what Christ said, back to the Bible. So that's how we build ourselves up mentally to witness what we're about to walk into. Because who knows, it could be an earthquake right now. Who knows, that volcano can pop right now. But we know these things are going to happen because Christ said that they was going to happen, but he said, be not troubled. Be not troubled, okay?
It's a long history of activity dating back to the 5th century BC. And some new research is...
So it said it dated back all the way back to the 5th century BC. So it's no coincidence that these things are happening at this time, okay? You can go ahead and read on.
Verse 9.
Yep, verse 9.
Verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations.
Right, and all nations, right? So, and you know what? And even if we go ahead, finish reading.
For my name's sake.
Right, for his name's sake. So now, are we not hated for his name's sake? Just because we try to serve our God, right? We saying that we are the original people of the Bible, that we are the Israelites. All of a sudden we get all of this flack, the brother Kanye, the basketball brother and all that, just because they claim to that particular race of people, they don't want it to be out. But it's going to get even further, more complicated for us Israelites, okay, as time go on and as we get closer and closer to more of these prophecies being fulfilled, okay? So he says, for his name's sake. Go ahead.
And then shall many be offended.
Right. He said, then many shall be offended. Go ahead.
And shall betray one another. And shall hate one another.
And shall hate one another. So far we got what? We got man being deceived. We got wars. We got famine. We got pestilence. We got earthquakes. We got false prophets. Okay. Read on.
And many false prophets shall rise.
So now we have the false prophet. We went over that with the Christianity. Read on.
And shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound.
Now he said that twice. He said that and shall deceive many. And he said iniquity shall abound. Right? Go ahead.
The love of many shall wax cold.
And we see that happening right now today. It's about to happen even further. how we have no love for one another. Because why? Because once the resources have come down to the point where they're scarce, then it's going to be every man for themselves. It's something that he's prophesying about, and the shortages on food, on water, all of these things are going to take us to this level here and to this prophecy here where the love shall wax cold. Go ahead.
But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved.
See, the same shall be saved. So it's about us enduring to the end. Because he said the same shall be saved. Okay, I want to make sure I'm staying on course. All right. So let me just play another video when it says that how we can track. Okay, let's see. Go back here and let's go back here. More of things that's happening right here. Read that, brother.
Tornado area added to severe storm forecast for Michigan Friday includes Ann Arbor, Detroit, Flint,
Bay City.
Bay City.
Right. So now a brother has sent to this brother Bayan out in Detroit, and he sent us pictures of how terrible this tornado was. So here we are going into more severe storms. Things are happening, right? But the Most High said, "What? Be not troubled." All right. So let's get this other one. Can't see it. Hold up. There you go.
The West Coast is at risk. New mega thrust font research indicate that the next big earthquake could be imminent.
Right, imminent. Right, meaning that it's gonna happen. Period. Out here on the West Coast, it's gonna happen. Then they said they got a fault that runs from
San Andreas Fault.
It's San Andreas Fault, but it runs from here all the way up to I think it's
San Francisco.
San Francisco. I think it's Seattle. You know, Seattle, they said they got a big fault in Seattle. So all of these things are just sitting there brewing. But as we can see that the Most High, he prophesied of these things. That definitely is going to happen, okay? Then we have, well, I'm going to go back to the other one. We're going to go back a little bit. Okay, something's just not happening. Let's see. Go back here. Okay, sorry about that. So then we have, like you said, all of these things are brewing. All of these things are on the horizon of us actually witnessing. So read 14.
Verse 14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached.
Now that's another thing. When it said this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached. So now if you really look at it now, I mean, our people know that they Israel. Whether they keeping the faith or upholding the faith, they still respect us and they see us over the years, and they know, as well as videos are being made. Information is being put out for our people to come back to Christ and to come back to this faith and to come back to the Bible and the commandments. So it says, read that from the top again.
Verse 14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached.
So this gospel is being preached. You have more and more people actually wearing their fringes. You have more and more people actually recognizing and saying that, you know what? We are chosen people. Go ahead.
In all the world for a witness.
So now it's being preached all over the world because you got the Philippines, you got in Africa, Jakes are waking up and understanding that they Israelites. You got them over in Switzerland. There was a brother we met in Switzerland that's keeping the faith in England. So it's not only happening here in America, but it's happened all over the world that this gospel is being preached. Go ahead.
Unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
And then shall the end come. Now, I'm not saying that, it's going to, like, once again, this is going to be this big bang and then things go, no. It's going to be slowly dripping, because another thing is, too, prophecy is dealing with the U.S. economy, Babylon falling. So you have all of these things here that is a witness as a prophecy that Christ actually prophesied on how these things were going to occur. Okay. Now let's get Jeremiah. Let's get Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. All right. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. Because as I was looking up certain videos, just kind of bringing out certain articles, I was just trying to compact them together, but I couldn't do it. So, verse 7.
Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble.
See, it is even as time as Jacob's trouble. See, Jacob's trouble haven't started yet. But as we can see by all of these prophecies that Christ has put out there, wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, tornadoes, the love of brother and sister waxing cold. All of them things are brewing to the point where Jacob's troubles are definitely on the horizon. Go ahead.
But he shall be saved out of it.
See, but we shall be saved out of it. And how shall we be saved? By keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, by respecting his Sabbath day, by respecting the 10 commandments, by loving our sisters and brothers once we know who they are. All of these things that we're doing now and we're rehearsing, this is how we're gonna overcome Jacob's trouble. Okay, let's get 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra chapter 9. And we're gonna start at verse 1. So all of this is Jacob's trouble has not been to the horizon yet, but it's brewing. It's definitely brewing. 2nd Ezra chapter 9. And start at 1.
2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself.
So he said, measure now the time diligently. That's what we're doing. We're measuring the times. Go ahead.
And when thy seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shall thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world, which he made.
Right, which he made. So now, if you go back up and when he said, then shall thou understand. That's the message I'm trying to give out now. It's just that we're understanding why these things are happening. Now, like he said, be not troubled when you see these things now, but what we need to understand is he said, this is the time when the highest will begin to visit the world. Go ahead.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shall thou will understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee.
Exactly. So what that was, go ahead.
Even from the beginning.
Even from the beginning. Because we can take these prophecies and hear what the prophet Daniel was speaking about. When Daniel started to speak, Daniel was speaking about the prophecies in Revelation. But as we can see, it says that it says, therefore shall thou understand that is the very same time, right? So now we're witnessing these things. We're seeing these things. But what we have to do is prepare ourselves mentally for this so that we can overcome Jacob's trouble. Verse 5.
Verse 5. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest.
And the end is manifest. Go ahead.
Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs.
Right. Now, the key thing in this one, it says that the effects and the signs. We can't neglect to see these signs and say, well, this is just happening, or this is just, what the world's going to say is Mother Nature. But we know that the Most High is in control of all things. He knows when to actually let that volcano erupt. But those who are aware, those who are spiritually aware and connected with the Most High, then we see these things are starting to affect, and now we start to preparing ourselves. And that's what we have to do. We seriously have to prepare ourselves, which means that we need to get back into the books and start going back into these prophecies and read Matthew's chapter 24 over and over again, and then pray and ask the Most High for more understanding. Because as we read these scriptures, these few verses, always saying, well, understanding it. The understanding is there. Now, like I said, other people outside of this truth, even Israel that's not keeping the faith, they're going to be confused. They are not going to know what to do. But we Most High is preparing us so that we can come together. And as we come together, then we start understanding more prophecies. And then we start to avoid these things that's going to happen. Because as we was coming out of Egypt, right? The Most High put us in the wilderness, but before we went into the wilderness, all of those plagues came upon Egypt, but it didn't touch Goshen. That's where the Israelites was dwelling at. The Most High had protect us then, and he's going to do the same thing now, even though we're not going to be, in Egypt, but around the world. There's going to be pockets of Israelites that's going to be saved, right? And I hope and pray that we're one of them, that when these things start to take place, then our protection will be within him and lie within him. Okay. Verse 7.
Verse 7, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works.
You see what I'm saying? He said, everyone that shall escape. That's the key too, is that always understanding and escape. That is the benefits of us keeping the commandments. That is the benefit of us keeping the faith, because we're going to escape these things that's happening right now. Go ahead.
And by faith, whereby ye have believed. Keep going?
Yeah.
Oh. Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land.
Okay, right there. So start again for verse 7.
Verse 7. And every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works.
See, go ahead.
And by faith, whereby ye have believed.
Go ahead.
Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see
right
my
there.
salvation.
So he said we shall be preserved. Once again, he's telling us that he's going to protect us. He's going to protect us. Now, the reason why I like to bring this message out is because we have to mentally prepare ourselves that even though we're going to walk through it, I'm not saying it's going to be like peaches and creams. What I am saying is that we're going to be able to maybe walk around these bodies, walk around this earthquake, walk around these things that's happening while people are in madness and chaos and trying to find out where to go. Scripture said that people start running into the mountains, to save themselves from this. The Most High is always going to have a place for us, prepared for us. All right. Verse 8.
Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land, and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning.
See, from the beginning. And that goes back into what Rasha class was last week. Rasha had a class was saying that how he preserved us and how he actually chose us, certain us from the beginning. He chose us. That's in the book of, I think, what's that? St. John chapter 15 and verse 16, how he chose us from the very beginning. So even though these things are going to take place, Most High say he's going to preserve us, take care of us, and nourish us while all of this chaos is going on. All of it's going on. Okay. Stay in 2nd Ezra. Let's go over the 2nd Ezra chapter 16. 2nd Ezra chapter 16. And we're going to start at 1.
2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
So he's naming all of these places where these things have taken place. The Israelites have been in all of these regions. The Most High has preserved us and protected us, even though we sinned against them. That's the reason why we're over here in Americas now, right? But we're still being protected here in America. Now, when he says woe unto them, because IQAhmath had gave, DSTM, and he was saying about the archer and how this arrow has been shot. Me and Rasha talk about that a lot, right? So all of this stuff that's going on right now, there's no ceasefire. There's no election. There's no voting that's going to help or preserve or even scale back of what's taking place right now. The Most High is letting all this right now take place so that he can show his power and his might. And also so that we can understand, where our fate lies. That's something that we have to also dig in deep as well. Our faith. Because when that C-19 came around, it shook a lot of people's faith. And a lot of people took that, that poison, but it was either take the poison or lose your job. So that's something that for me that I experienced, that it was to a point where I was like, wow, this thing is actually happening. It's going down. But once again, the Most High is going to test our faith. This time he's going to test it even more because all of these things are happening and taking place. The earthquakes, the floods, and different kinds of symptoms with the weather. But still in all, our faith has to be proven on what we believe in and what we're reading. Okay. Go ahead.
Gird up yourselves with the cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent unto you, and who may turn it back? A fire is set among you, and who may quench it?
So the Most High is asking, who's going to quench these fires? Who's going to stop this war? They're not going to come to a table and come to an agreement. No, it's not. This thing is far, far into effect. The arrow has been shot and it's going straight ahead because the Most High is guiding it where he wants. So there's going to be other wars that's going to spark up. And like they said before, the war between Russia and Ukraine, it's going to escalate to a point where, it's going to be unbelievable. You're talking about thousands of people dying now. Wait till they start unleashing these nuclear wars, these nuclear bombs and things like that. That's when it's really going to start to get into the point where America better watch out. Because if an EMP hits this place and they take out the electricity, which that's happening right now in certain countries, you figure that the mass of people that's going to die, it's going to be sets in waves. Because electricity, when you got no electricity, you got to understand, we ain't just talking about lights and your convenience. We're talking about people that's on respirators. We're talking about people that have to go for dialysis. We're talking about people that have diabetes and the insulin has to be kept at a certain temperature. That's a wave of people that's gonna die once this electricity is cut off. And like I said, even if that doesn't happen, even if an earthquake happens and the electricity is cut off, are you prepared at your house? See, that's another level of understanding how these prophecies are being revealed and how they're going to affect us. Okay, and so it says, verse 4, if a fire
is set among you, who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away?
Exactly. So now he said, where is he that's going to drive them away? Right now, you have these are man-made plagues right now. But as you go further into the scriptures and into the prophecies, the Most High have his plagues. So he letting Esau go ahead and tinker around and go in his laboratory and conjure up certain things. And then they put it out there, which is scared the heck out of us. But then his plagues is going to come. And we're going to know when his plagues come because they're going to come out of nowhere and there's going to be no cure. Okay, read on.
May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may any one quench the fire in stubble when he have begun to burn. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer.
See, it says, can one turn away this arrow? Go ahead.
The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away?
So now he's telling us nobody's going to be able to stop this. It's like a snowball that's going down the hill. It's just going to continue to roll and rolling and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, where you at?
No.
Go ahead.
A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid?
Go ahead.
The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence?
That's right. Because I know y'all not used to thundering and lightning back east. They're about to see some thunder and lightning because now they headed into their tornado season. Okay, so that's one thing. When you hear some thunder and lightning, it gets your attention on immediately. The lightning and the thunder, immediately it grabs your attention. Okay, verse 12.
The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and fishes thereof also before the Lord and before the glory of his power.
So now he's telling you how the Lord have all this power and how he's going to unleash all of this power upon this earth. And that if you're not within this faith and if you're not of the children of Israel, then guess what? Millions of people are going to be eliminated. But this is what Esau wants, but because he thinks that he's going to survive, the elite. He really thinks that he's going to survive and not take the brunt of what the Most High is going to actually put upon this earth. Go ahead.
For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shotteth are sharp and shall not miss.
Mm-hmm.
When they begin to be shot into the ends of the world.
That's right. And he's shooting them right now. He's shooting many arrows. Go ahead.
Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth.
Go ahead.
The fires also is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth.
See, until it consume the foundations of the earth. All of these things are being prophesied. Now Ezra is seeing these things. Now Christ told you about certain things that must come to pass. Now Ezra is going in further to tell you the power and the strength of what's going to take place upon this earth. Verse 16.
Verse 16, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backward.
So it says, returning not backward. Go ahead.
Even so, the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me.
So he's saying, woe is me, woe is me. Those who actually survived to this point right here, we're going to be like, woe is me. That's when true faith gonna have to come. But if you find yourself at this point right now and see millions and millions of people are dead, then okay, well, then then the Most High got your back. It's gonna be sorrows, definitely gonna be sorrows. So he says, woe is me, woe is me. Go ahead.
Who will deliver me in those days? The beginnings of sorrows and great mournings, and the beginning of famine and great death, and the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come?
That's what Christ spoke about, because his disciples asked him, what shall be the sign of your coming and when of the end of the earth? Go ahead.
Behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scorns for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness.
So he said, from all of these things that was about to take place, they shall not turn from their wickedness. Those who are left behind, they will not turn from their wickedness. Go ahead.
Nor be always mindful of the scourges.
See, nor be mindful of the scourges that the Most High is actually putting on us. So all of these things are going to take place. Now, that's why I say mentally, we have to start preparing ourselves. So I would suggest to go back and read Ezra chapter 16 again, because this is what is being set up now. This is what we're going to be facing coming near future. But the Most High tells us, he said, fret not. Because why? Because he have us in mind. He has a place set for us for safety. Something that we have to actually, think about, like, well, where is it going to be? Or how is he going to do it? Well, we don't know all of that. But we do know this, that we have hope in him and in the scriptures that we read. Okay, let's get that last one. Let's get Isaiah chapter 54. Isaiah chapter 54. And I want to read 7 and 8.
Isaiah chapter 54 and verse 7. For a small moment have I forsaken thee.
So now the Most High said, for a small moment he forsaken us. And we've seen that. Throughout our tribulations, we've seen, even though it seemed 400 years seemed a long time, but still he said for a small second he has forsaken us. Go ahead.
But with great mercies will I gather thee.
And we've had his mercy so far. Our forefathers went through some brutal situations where, to a point, here we are now today. But their suffering is what we have now, and the privileges we have now. But we cannot forget what they went through. But we understand now through the curses, right, and through the disobeying the laws and the commandments, that it had to take place. It was prophesied that it would take place if we did not keep the commandments. So now it says that only for a moment that the Most High had neglected us. Read on.
In a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment.
For a moment, go ahead.
But with an everlasting kindness will I have mercy upon.
So now he said, with an everlasting kindness, he would have mercy on us. And we see a lot of that mercy today because where we at now, 2024, a lot of our people have liberty. A lot of our people have mercy, and we can see it, and we actually living and taking advantage of it ourselves. But all of that is going to come to a cease. Because why? Because Christ prophesied. He said the signs and the times of when the end of the world shall be. So that's my message for this Sabbath, Israel. And like I said, let's have faith in the Most High, because he said that, he will protect us. We have history to show how he will protect us, and we show how history also give us the understanding on how and the prophecies that are going to come through now, that we're walking through now, and that's going to happen even in the future. So keep the faith, and I say shalom. I didn't get through my other stuff.